Hello and welcome. My name is Hydro Kimono, and today we're going to be talking about body image and society's views on how we look. The topic today was suggested by a really good friend of mine named Angela, and I thought it was a really good idea, so let's get into it. First of all, I just want to say that it seems like no matter what you look like, people are always going to give you flack for it. If you're skinny, people are going to be jealous of you. If you're overweight, people are going to just think that you're lazy and that you eat too much. I think that as a society we put way too much emphasis on how people look and not enough emphasis on what people are like on the inside. It sounds really corny and really cliche, but I really think it's true. I think that for some reason we just can't get past how people look. If people are thin, we want to know how they did it and are jealous of them for being thin. If people are overweight, then that's got a whole other stigma to it. I know lots and lots of people who are thin and they just hate it. I guess you always kind of want what you are not. If you have really thick hair, you wish your hair was a little bit thinner. If you have really curly hair, you wish it was straight. And if you have straight hair, you wish it was a little bit curlier, a little bit fuller. I guess that's just how it goes. So I've talked to a couple of my thinner friends, and they all say that they're just sick of the comments and people telling them to put on weight and jealous of them. And of course, people that are overweight just wish they could lose the weight, but you never know why somebody's one way or the other. Usually it's a metabolism issue, I feel. Yeah, sure, people overeat or they undereat or whatever, but if you're skinny, there's this whole stigma about, oh, that person looks like they're doing drugs or something like that. If you're overweight, you're just fat and lazy. But in I think a lot of cases, it's a thyroid issue. It's either overactive or not fast enough. And it would be nice if we could all just sort of get past that and just look at the person for who they are. But obviously, we have magazines, we have TV shows, we have movies, and we're all trying to compete with that. You know, as a guy, it's like you're trying to compete with Ryan Gosling and Chris Hemsworth. Those are the ones that every woman on the planet likes, one of the two or both of them, and that's sort of the standard they're holding everyone to. Used to be the guy that played Edward Cullen. For a long time it was Brad Pitt and Johnny Depp, but it seems like even those have died down. You don't see them as much anymore. But so for guys, we have to compete with those. For girls, I think it's a whole separate thing. But I think for girls it might be a little bit easier now, because now you've got people like Kim Kardashian and people like that who are a little bit on the thicker side, and now all of a sudden that's beautiful. But I think people are always real quick to, in an effort to make themselves feel better, point out that that's much more attractive than thin girls. And as my friend Angelica pointed out, which was I totally agree with, you're constantly seeing things like that on Facebook, where it's a picture of Marilyn Monroe, and then right next to her is just way too thin person, and somebody who's anorexic or something, and it's when did this not become, wait, I can't remember exactly how it went, something like, this is hotter than this, and you're just flooded with it. That's all it is. And I think it's in an effort to make people feel better about themselves. Look at this voluptuous person and how amazingly attractive they are, but look how gross this thin person is. Instead of just saying, here's a picture of a voluptuous person, here's a picture of a thin person, they're both beautiful. Why is that so hard? Why do people have to tear down somebody else to make themselves feel better? I guess that goes into a whole other video about bullying, but this is sort of it's not really bullying, but it's more passive aggressive. It's, let me put up a picture of somebody who looks a little bit more like I do and talk about how attractive that person is, and at the same time tear down this other person that other people would consider attractive, or that maybe would have been the normal attractiveness in the 50s or 60s, or, well, I guess it would have been further than that, actually. I guess it would have been more like, or sooner than that, maybe the 2000s or something, when we had Kate Moss and people like that. These Victoria's Secret models and how thin and gorgeous they are. Whatever you look like, there's something attractive about you. How many times have you seen somebody who is extremely attractive with somebody who was not that attractive? I see it all the time. I've worked retail for so many years. I've seen every kind of couple, especially when I worked in Orange County. Actually, that's a whole other thing. When I worked in Orange County, it was mainly really old guys with really young girls. And your immediate thought was like, okay, well, this is probably a guy with a lot of money, and this is just some gold digger. So, at first it kind of grossed me out, but then one of my friends pointed out, it's mutually beneficial. This guy gets the trophy wife that he wants, and this girl is financially set for life. It works out. So, God bless the two of them, and I hope they live happily ever after. Anyway, I'm derailing. Back to my main point. Everyone's beautiful in their own way. And I think it's extremely important for all of us to be comfortable in our own skin and be confident about who we are. Personality is always going to be the most important thing. It doesn't matter what you look like. You could go out with somebody who's extremely attractive, but their personality sucks. Let's say you get married to that person. You're going to be stuck with that person for the rest of your life. And it doesn't matter who you are. Your looks are going to fade. Nobody... Have you ever seen a beautiful 80-year-old? Actually, the correct answer is yes, because everybody's beautiful in their own way, as I just said. And their personality more than makes up for any wrinkles that we have. So, there you go. But I think that it's really important for us to work on our personalities and get past the whole looks thing. Because eventually that's all going to be gone. So what we have left are the people that we are. And that should be the most important thing. Just because you're not comfortable with yourself, you shouldn't put other people down for looking the way they do. Yes, there's plenty of gorgeous people in the world. There's also plenty of unattractive people in the world too. But we all coexist. We're all here together. And attractive person A finds not so attractive person B very attractive. That's awesome. That is great. We should celebrate that. Because now there are two people who don't care about looks. They care about personality. They care about who the person is. And that's what's important. We all have body image issues. Unless we are like Jillian Michaels and are just completely fit and we work out every day, chances are there's something about us that we want to change. But what we look like is what makes us different than anybody else. And I know that sounds like a cop-out. That's really easy for me to say, but it's true. There's something for everybody out there. There's a huge variety of people out there. So if you're somebody who, you may be somebody who is just only into skinny people, somebody who is only into overweight people, somebody who's only into people with dark hair, blonde hair, short hair. There's just this huge sea of people, which I think is amazing. And we just really shouldn't look at how people look and try to tear other people down in the process. Be confident with who you are. Be into who you are. Be comfortable in your own skin. That's what's important. Of course, society's going to put an emphasis on how we look. We got magazines, we got movies, we got TV shows, we've got all this stuff. Constantly seeing models and things like that everywhere we go. And chances are, yeah, those people are probably having this amazing life just getting by on how they look. So for the rest of us, what do? We work on our personality. We become an awesome person. We work on our sense of humor, our intelligence, things like that. We get into, hobbies or whatever to try to get better and better ourselves as a person. We try to help others. Not to say that the models and people like that don't do that, but yeah, the stigma is that they have an easier time. When the reality of it is, that's not always true. It really isn't. I have known plenty of extremely attractive people and models in my life, and a lot of them say the exact same thing, that the way they're treated isn't the way they want to be treated. People often make it a point not to talk to them. It's like the whole thing with being able to talk to a beautiful woman. And, I can't go talk to her, she's way too attractive. But the reality of it is, nobody's talking to them, and they wish somebody would. So I think they get treated a lot differently, and I think they get a lot of hate too. People see somebody who's really attractive and they don't like themselves, and they throw all their hate and anger on that person, which is really unfair. And then if you're an unattractive person, you get ridiculed for that. So I think just as a society, we need to completely get past that. We need to look at everybody for who they are, not what they look like. Yeah, you can get plastic surgery and things like that, but to me, is it just me, or does it make it more obvious? When somebody gets plastic surgery, it's just like a big red flag, It's like, check me out. I've had plastic surgery, and it is completely obvious, and that's all you can look at. I think plastic surgery is really stupid anyway. I don't understand why anybody pays thousands and thousands of dollars to try to look younger. I think the people that usually look a lot better are people that don't do anything. Look at even the people that exercise all the time. I see so many of these people on these magazines. I'm just like, they look a lot older than they really are, I bet. I bet they're probably younger than I think they are, just because they've tightened up their skin so much that you can see more wrinkles and things like that, and their skin just kind of looks leathery because it's just so tightly on there. Versus all of us who eat fast food and have a little bit of fat on our faces, and you can't really tell how old we are because you can't see any wrinkles because we've got a little bit of fat in there. Anyway, yeah, totally going off subject, but the bottom line is we all need to be comfortable with ourselves. We're all individuals. We all have personalities. We all have hearts, and I think we need to respect that a little bit more, not throw our own insecurities and hatred in anybody else's faces. We just need to accept people for who they are. If you're really thin and you're happy, that's amazing. If you're overweight and happy, that's amazing too. We're all people, and that's the bottom line. But if you do want to get in shape, I think that's pretty awesome. My friend Tiffany, who some of you watching this may know, has decided that she is going to work really hard on getting in shape, and I applaud her for that if that's going to make her happy. I think that's really cool, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to better yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, any of it. So anyway, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that as a society we're totally fine? Do you think that body image is not a problem? Do you think that society's views on how we look are positive, negative? Do you think that we are not moving towards thicker being more beautiful? Do you think that that nothing's changed in the last 30 years? What do you guys think? I'm really curious. Leave it in the comments. Yeah, that's all I got. Anyway, have a good night.